Hello everyone and welcome to the Amethyst Pack Litter Recap, where we'll be taking a look at the pups of the Amethyst Pack. And as you may have gathered by the fact that we've already started playing with one of the pups, this is not an air poll, this is just a litter recap. The Wayfinders pack and its descendants don't exactly do air polls, it's kind of just whatever pup feels like a good fit to explore each update, because we have such a variable number of pups that we're going to need due to not knowing how many updates we're going to have, so we kind of just play it by ear with this pack and its descendants. But yeah, this is going to be a Tempest branch of the family tree, the Amethyst pack. Of course, we have Tempest herself here. She has 0 strength, -2 stamina, +2 speed, and 0 health, and her mate Chase, who has 0 strength, 1 stamina, -1 speed, and 0 health. Now, of course, Tempest is the daughter of Aiden and Raven. They are our first WolfQuest Anniversary Edition pair, and way back when from when this first came out, so it's really exciting to see their line continuing as it is with all of the Wayfinders offspring. Actually, Tempest really inherited her mom's eye color, didn't she? I never noticed how similar it is. Well, that is neat to see. But we're going to be going through, taking a look at the pups, just seeing what they look like as adults. Of course, we've already kind of seen that in the case of Pigeon here, but we will be taking a look at the others as well as adults. They actually all survived. We don't have any pups that didn't make it this time around, which is pretty amazing because a lot of the time we lose at least 1 or 2 to illness, if not more than that. But let's go ahead, we'll jump right in, we'll take a look at the pups as adults and talk a little bit about them, and we'll see. Obviously, we've already seen Pigeon and her story, but who knows? We might encounter some of the rest of these guys in stories as well at some point, you never know. But we'll go ahead and jump right in. And starting off here, we have Baran, who is our 2F member of the Amethyst pack. She has the Grizzer coat from the Ambassador Wolves here, and it is a genetic gray coat, as you can see, pretty pale. She does have that radio collar, as you can see too, and she's got these really pretty silver eyes. Now, if we listen to her howls, she actually does have one of the new ones, but her primary is one of the legacy ones. We'll go ahead and listen to that. That's kind of an old classic, and then her secondary here. Actually, is that one of the older howls too? I think it might be. I don't remember exactly how the numbering system worked out, so maybe that's not a new one after all. Is it? Oh, it might be. I'm not sure. I don't know, it's number 30 in any case, and it is quite a cool howl. Now, as for her customization, she doesn't have any ear customizations, but of course she does have that radio collar. She is also pretty small in size. I think that these guys were generated before that update completely came out, so I think it was probably just based off of her stats, because as you can see here, she does have that -1 strength, and traditionally that's the stat that's been associated with size for grown pups. And of course you can see here she is the former Amethyst 2F member, the offspring of Tempest and Chase. She did survive an illness as a pup as well, and she was notably kind of close to Luka, her brother. It seemed like the two of them both bonded quite a bit while both of them were sick. Now that is going to be Baran, that's our first wolf here. Next up we have a very familiar face. This is, of course, Pigeon. Now, traditionally, we do look at our wolves before we start playing as them, but Pigeon's kind of a special case. It made sense to bring her right back into another story with the subsequent update to the one that her litter grew up in. It just made a lot of sense, and of course, she is the now leader of the Skullfinder pack here. But if we're going to look closely at her stats and traits here, you can see that she has the 832F06 Hall of Fame coat, again a genetic gray coat. She's got these very pretty goldeny, well, not really goldeny, kind of almost limey yellow, to be honest. They're a little bit slightly green tinted, but very pretty nonetheless. Her howl here, let's listen to 16. That's one of the new ones here. I'm still getting used to the numbering. Maybe it's not inherently the later ones, but this is our secondary. yeah, I guess the new ones are just kind of scattered throughout rather than necessarily being all at the end, because that's a newer one as well. Now, she does have a little bit, oh, we're on the wrong page here, a little bit of a bent ear. That is her right ear. You can see that there. And of course, the radio collar. Now, those traits are actually a little bit special because she didn't generate with them. They were actually suggested by members of the JayPlays sub-server, which is open to all YouTube channel members, members of my Patreon, and Twitch channel subs. So if you want the chance to hang out with the rest of the community and with me and some of the other IU crowd sometimes, and get to participate in community events and have the chance to kind of commentate and suggest personality and physical traits for some of the pups that might make it into their stories down the line, then definitely make sure to check that out. You can also support the channel in doing so. Helps me be able to keep doing what I'm doing and keep making these videos for y'all. But here you can see her stats as well. Also for her size, I think she's a little on the smaller side, yeah. Once again, I think that's still correlated with strength for when these pups were created, but going forward, it'll be interesting to see how that variation pans out. Now, she was the 3F member of the Amethyst pack. Now, of course, she is the 1F member of the Skullfinders pack, and she's the offspring of Tempest and Chase. And yeah, a lot of people thought it'd be interesting to see her go to Lost River, and of course now we know that that is exactly what she has done. She was a pretty notable wanderer, even as a pup. Definitely seemed to have quite a personality, and that of course has led into her story as an adult. So that is Pigeon. We've already seen some of her story. Let's go ahead and next up we have Agate, and Agate has a pretty familiar coat, the one that we often call False Gray, but it's formerly known as 42F Cinderella from the Founders pack, and she has these really interesting kind of auburny, umber, is that the word for it? I don't know, really interesting kind of rich brown eyes. They're very, very pretty. I think I say that about all of them, but like, goodness, the character customization in this game is just so dang good. Now, she has some higher numbered howls here. Let's see what those are. That's definitely one of the newer ones, and then her secondary. Oh yeah, both of those are new for sure as well. Now she does have a bent right ear too. You can see that one is actually all the way bent, and a little bit of a crooked tail here. If we look too, it's kind of bent inward. Kind of gives her an almost skittish appearance. It looks like she's permanently got her tail tucked. You can see too, she's once again on the small side. I think, did we establish that Tempest had lowered strength? I don't know if we did, but a lot of the pups got that -1, and I do think that that's where the small size is coming from here. Now, of course, she was formerly the 4F member of the Amethyst pack, and she did seem quite close to her brother Nyx. She actually left during a bear attack to see if he was okay, because he was out and running around and getting into trouble. So those two seemed to be quite close to one another. That, of course, is Agate, and next up we have Zena, jumping straight from A to Z. Zena has the Ambassador Bolt's coat. This is a really nice looking coat. It's got a lot of detail, and we don't see it too often, honestly, but the facial markings are pretty unique there. She also has these very, very pretty golden eyes. They stand out quite strikingly against her coat here. And I am being attacked by a gnat in real life. It's not fun. But yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll also listen to her howls here. Her primary one, I think, is one of the legacy ones. Yep, that's a classic. And then her secondary. That almost reminds me of a loon. It's a very, very cool howl, but also for sure one of the new ones. Now, as for her traits here, I don't think she had any ear customizations, but she does have a radio collar, and she is a pretty average size, a little bigger than a lot of her sisters. They were quite small for the most part, coming in with 1 speed and -1 health. And she, of course, was formerly the Amethyst 5F member, the offspring of Tempest and Chase, and that is Zena. Next up we have Pearl, and Pearl has a pretty classic coat here. It's one of the Life is Rough coats, but it is actually the Black-tailed Deer Plateau gray coat, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. It's just the Life is Rough variant of it. This is one we've seen pop up throughout our legacy quite a few times. She also has these nice golden eyes as well. They really stand out. Golden eyes are often quite striking with a lot of these coats. Again, like, I don't think there's too many bad combinations, but this is definitely one of the good ones. Now, as for her howls here, we'll go ahead and listen to them. Here's her primary. Pretty high-pitched and definitely one of the newer ones. Here's her secondary as well. Yeah, that very much reminds me of a loon. Anyway, it is also a new howl there. And then she does have a torn inner right ear, I think. Or no, torn inner left it is. You can see that little notch up there. Just very, very slight. Not too evident. And she is a little bit interesting because she actually is very, very small, and that is probably because she is our runt with -2 stamina, -2 strength. Again, I do think it's correlated to that strength stat. She also did end up surviving an illness as a pup. As you can see here, she's a 6F member of the pack, and she made it. We were worried about her. I remember worrying about her, and it looked for a bit there like she might not, but she did end up recovering, fortunately, and is here now as an adult. But that is Pearl. Next up we have Luka with a very striking dark coat here. This is the Choco Snout coat. It doesn't show up in the menu here, unfortunately, but we've seen it a few times throughout our various generations. It was pretty common in our stream legacy for a bit. There are live streams that we do on twitch.tv/JZX535 every Wednesday at present. Of course, Luka has a genetic black coat, if that was not evident, although some of them are a little bit deceptive. And he has these, that kind of greeny hue to his eyes, which, once again, very vibrant, very striking. Let's also go ahead and listen to his howls here. Here's his first one. It's a pretty deep howl, and then for his secondary... We've seen that one pop up a few times. Both of those are new howls, I'm pretty sure, and I don't think he got any customizations, actually. I'm pretty sure that he didn't, but he is pretty large in size, which is quite rare amongst our wolves. You can see, though, he does have that +1 strength again for this litter. This is probably correlated, but he has -2 stamina and +1 health. He was the 2M member of the Amethyst pack, the offspring of Tempest and Chase, and he did survive illness. He seemed pretty close to Baran through that, and it seemed like the two of them bonded during that time. But that is Luka, and last but not least, finally we have Nyx, who grew up with an unexpectedly golden coat. He looked pretty pale as a pup, but it seems like he got some of these really nice golden hues as he grew into his adult look. He does have a genetic gray coat with these very vibrant yellow eyes here. And we'll also go ahead and listen to his howls. Here's his primary. Once again, one of the new howls. And then for secondary, that is also one of the new ones, but not one of the new ones that we have encountered much before. Now, as for his customizations, he does, of course, have that radio collar, but that seems to be the only one. And he is of average size, which is probably because he's also of very average stats. They are all perfectly balanced. So that's not something you see too often amongst pups. He could be a good potential candidate, depending. It depends. Some updates, like in this one, we wanted Tempest's higher speed to be able to track down those pronghorns. Sometimes you want a wolf that's just all around solid. It just depends on what the future updates bring, so we'll have to see. Of course, he was our 3M member of the Amethyst Pack as well, the offspring of Tempest and Chase, and he, like a lot of the pups, survived illness as well. A lot of them did. Like, we had a fair amount of illness this litter, but we also had a lot of survivors. Again, amazingly, we didn't lose any of them, which is wild because Tempest's own litter did struggle quite a bit with illness. But hey, you know, Tempest is the one who survived it. Maybe she passed on some of those genes with good immunity to her pups. But that is going to be it for this litter recap. Once again, this is not an air poll. There's nowhere to vote because with Wayfinders, we kind of just pick and choose wolves as it makes sense with wolves that feel fitting for each update. So you may see some of these guys again someday, you may not. It kind of just depends. But whatever the case may be, I think it's safe to say that the Wayfinder stories will be continuing for the foreseeable future as long as there is new content for them to explore. But we'll go ahead, we'll leave this off here for today, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. But until then, this is Jay, over and out.